Tonight, if there are no questions, and I checked my email, no one had questions. I wanted to talk a little bit about your topic paper. Don't forget that you are writing a paper for this class, and there are directions. Scroll down the topic paper and some links that gives you suggestions on organizing your paper, writing your paper, APA style. Assign participant. Why do I want to do that? I don't know what that was. Okay. It's weird. Something is going funky on my computer. Okay. I don't know what that is. Huh. It looks like there is something wacky going on with this computer. Okay. All right. So the topic paper, you want to make sure that you're working on that. The topic paper is due August 12th, which is the last day of classes. So we have to follow the parameters of our schedule. So the last day of class is the 12th, and all class work has to be turned in prior to that date. I sent reminders out about getting your work posted on time. Make sure that you're doing all of the assignments and that the paper is posted by 11:59 on August the 12th. If it is not posted, I cannot accept it. So if you have questions specifically about the paper, you're able to choose a topic that we've been talking about, or you have read about, or that you have watched to research. What you're going to do is you're going to go out and find a couple of research articles, other sources to read in addition to what we've covered in class, to go a little bit more in depth into that topic paper. And you want to look on Moodle and you want to read, take a look at the resources available. It gives you tips on writing a strong introduction, writing a thesis statement. So take a look at those resources, okay? No one had questions about any of the topics. I want to make sure that in your notes, because it's going to be helpful for the final exam, that in your notes, you're not just creating an outline, but you're giving detailed descriptions of the concepts. So some of you have kind of created just an outline, but you're not defining the terms or you're not explaining the terms. The final exam is not a fill-in-the-blank, multiple choice, simple answer. There are essay questions that you can choose from, and you choose 3 of the 5 essay questions that are posted, and you answer those in great detail. You want to think about it. You have 3 hours to complete the exam, so I'm expecting a lot of detail and a lot of explanation to demonstrate your understanding of the questions. Okay? Make sure if I've asked you to analyze or compare and contrast, that you compare and contrast, that you just don't define, that you say what's similar and what is different about the two, either the two theorists or the two educational ideas. Okay. I wanted to kind of go over a little bit about setting up stations in the classroom. And one thing that you want to remember when you're setting up stations in the classroom is choice is key. So children should be given choice when they're going to the stations. And you want to make sure that you are not tracking children, so that you're not creating a high group, a middle group, and a low group, and then they travel around to the stations together. You want to mix and match the ability levels in your stations, and then you typically would have 3 different ability levels at one station. So the children can choose the station they're going to, and there's lots of different ways to organize this. And when you're in upper level methods courses, you'll learn some more details about that. But the basic thing is typically teachers do not have an extra pair of hands in the classroom. So they have to teach the children how to use the stations, rotate the stations according to individual need. You don't want to set a timer, right? Because if you have children who are moving faster and they have to wait at a station before they move on to their next concept or next task, they're going to get bored, and that's when they're going to create some classroom management problems for the teacher in the classroom. They'll start bothering other children. They will start getting other students off task. And so it's better to let them move at their own pace. And then also it decreases anxiety of children who are not as fast at completing tasks. Maybe they're more detailed in their work and they want to put a little bit more time into it. And so making sure that there is not a set time limit to be at a station. And you want to give transition notices so that if it's coming to a point where students need to begin cleaning up their materials and finish the task tomorrow, you want to always say to the students, in 10 minutes, it's going to be time to get ready for lunch. And then you say, in 5 minutes, we're going to begin cleaning up. And then teachers have kind of different routines. Some teachers will put music on. They'll say when the music starts, you start cleaning up. And by the end of the song, we really want to be ready and in line for lunch. So there's lots of different ways that you can do that in different types of classrooms. I will check my email to make sure I don't see any questions about this for today's meeting. I tried to make it at 9 o'clock rather than at 8 o'clock, hoping that some additional people would be able to log on. I'm wondering if a Saturday or Sunday meeting would be better. I'm also happy to schedule individual sessions if you have particular questions that you would like explained. All right, so let me go to so 9 o'clock meeting. I'm just looking to see if anybody sent me a message. You should be working on your midterm. That's getting down to a due date on the midterm. Let's see. Okay. One thing that you do want to do is to clearly understand mindset, and then you're also going to learn about grit. Mindset and grit are a little bit connected together. The mindset researcher Carol Dweck, pay close attention to what she says about mindset. If you're interested in writing about that in your topic, there is a lot of research on mindset. And then there's also a lot of research on grit. And that's Angela Duckworth, and you're going to, I think in week 4, you learn a little bit about the concept of grit and kind of what happens when you're interacting with teachers and students and helping them understand grit and how to build that grit. So, some of that research is continuing. I don't see anyone else getting on. And I was just trying to think if there were more topics. Let me see if I can pull up. Whoops. Okay, I'm just going to go to Moodle and look on here So grit is week 3, which is after you're working on some of that now. And growth mindset I talked a little bit about. I think everyone did a pretty good job on the video meeting the needs of diverse learners and answering those questions. Some of that is going to be similar to the final exam. Questions where you're going to analyze what's happening. Also, just make sure that when you're writing a reflection, that the reflection includes some of your own perspective on the topic. Do you agree and why? Do you disagree and why? And make sure that you can back that up, either why you agree or why you disagree with a particular concept that you're learning about. Classroom management is a difficult one. Really, you learn classroom management when you're in the classroom, but there are some techniques that you can learn prior to have kind of like a bag of tricks to use in the classroom. And you want to also make sure that you understand the developmental stages when you're talking about these things. So for example, students will often make a mistake in classroom management, not fully understanding the developmental age or stage of the child. So if you're answering an essay question on an exam and you're talking about classroom management and what's appropriate in a kindergarten classroom, let's say, or a middle school classroom. So in a group of kindergartners, if I'm using behaviorism, I might say, I like the way that Johnny is sitting at his desk and all his materials are put away and he's ready to go to lunch. In a kindergarten classroom, you're going to have lots of children following right around Johnny and doing quickly modeling after him. Now, if you try that in a middle school or high school classroom, you might get some funny looks from the students. They're not going to respond in a similar way as a kindergartner would, right? Because we know that kindergartners, in their stage of development, they are attached to adults. So they're attached to parents. They tend to listen to parents. They're attached to teachers. They want to please. So they're teacher and parent pleasers for the most part, unless there's a disability going on there, or unless they're bored, or unless something's inappropriate in the classroom. Whereas middle schoolers and high schoolers are moving toward formal operations or informal operations, and that means that they're more connected with their peers, they're becoming autonomous, and they're starting to question authority figures. So they're questioning their parents, they're questioning their teachers, they constantly question rules and regulations that they're required to follow. So telling them that you like the way they're doing something is not going to get the same result as it would with a 5-year-old. Okay, so just kind of keep some of those things in mind, and that's how I want you to apply some of these particular concepts. Grit, that's a really good video to watch, and it's Angela Duckworth giving a TED Talk. Okay, and we will meet again. Let me know if you could email me. I know one person emailed times, and it might not have been tonight. It might have been like Wednesday or Thursday night. That's better. But I only got one response. So I can change the day. So if a Saturday or a Sunday evening is better, please let me know. But again, I will record and post tonight's video. All right, if there's any questions, email me questions and I can answer them. If you need any assistance either on the paper or on any of the assignments, let me know as well. But take a look at some of the additional resources I have posted in the Moodle about writing good papers. And you really want to edit carefully. I'll take a look for content, but I'll also take a look for grammar, sentence structure, and your ideas. If you use anybody else's ideas, make sure that you cite it using APA. If you do not know APA, OWL Purdue is a good online resource to make sure that you're following APA format. Oh, my dogs are barking. All right, I'm going to sign off for the evening. I will post this video and let me know if you have any questions. I hope to meet you all soon, so hopefully we can find a meeting time where we can at least all say hello and get acquainted.